Thanks for locking in with 77 Flavors of Chicago. We're your host, Dario.
And I'm Sarah, and I hope you're ready to learn with us.
Today, we talking about cartoons and a guy named Wallace Carlson. Sorry, I moved my head away from the mouse. Mike. Wallace Carlson, y'all.
Wallace Carlson.
Yeah,
that's a tongue.
It is.
What's the word?
Boy, my damn chair done ate up my cord here. What's going on here? How y'all doing?
Great.
You ain't give him time to respond.
Oh, sorry.
Meanwhile, I'm over here suffering, man. I'm doing good too. Glad y'all asked.
Damn. Honestly, I feel like this week was. I can't live in this like 1 week is cold, 1 week is hot situation. I need consistency in temperature.
Yeah, it's it's just been cool in the morning, but it's been getting hot pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, like
I was very cold like what, last week? A couple weeks ago? I don't even know.
See, very cold is just regular cold. We were just so used to it.
We're
here in Chicago, we just used to the good weather.
What's like your perfect weather?
I told y'all 65 with a breeze.
65 is too cool.
65 to 70. That's like
I think 68 to 72 is
65
perfect.
to 70. That's mine. 65 no breeze, 70 slight breeze, 72
you need gust of wind.
good breeze. You know what I mean? Good breeze. Other than that, I'm decent. It's hot after that, man. It's just we doing too much.
Yeah, doing way too much.
Unless it's like, the lake, 75 by the lake, way different.
Yeah, 75 by the lake is nice.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
75 by the lake, it go crazy though, low key.
That's when I like to go to the beach.
Yeah, I know you love the beach. You only went like twice this year.
Yeah, because everybody's kids was outside.
You've been saying that for like the last 3 weeks.
Well, we're also very busy, so like, find me a free day, I'll go.
Hey, I feel you on that one. I hope y'all had a.
Don't want to go.
Hope y'all had a good Mexican Independence, Hispanic Heritage
Month
start kickoff, and Mexican Independence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope y'all enjoy.
Sunday.
Yeah. We're recording this as of the festivities, so.
You love to tell people when we're recording.
Sure do.
What's your favorite thing to do?
You know, y'all. I'm also going to New York this week since we on the topic of me timestamping the podcast. Hey, I'm excited to go to New York. Wait, not because it's like a break and
like
that.
Without me?
No, see, get out of here. I'm excited because where I'm staying at is a 10-minute walk to B&H Photo. I've been like, and what you say is like 10-minute walks from my favorite photographer studio.
Yeah.
Lindsay Adler. Yeah, I'm about to pull up on both of them. Crazy thing is so I ordered some.
Because don't get arrested pulling up to Lindsay Adler's
you're right.
studio.
Yeah, for real. She had me carted off real quick. But I ordered some stuff that I needed for photography and videography, really, miking up myself, because I've been doing my vlogs. I don't know if y'all seen, but I've been doing vlogs, and I mic myself up underneath my shirt. And so I've been using this tape right here, and this tape is good, but this roll is moving quick now, right. And I got something. It's not bad, but it's not the best because sometimes it get too stuck.
It's
I feel
not
like
made for this.
It's not made for it, but it's been working very well. It's just I've been afraid to rip the cord. So I ordered this stuff called moleskin tape, where it's made specifically for this, right? Mm-hmm. And guess where I ordered it from?
B&H.
For delivery.
No.
Knowing my ass is about to be 10 minutes away.
Oh my God.
It was free shipping, so I'm not mad about that. But
you could have just waited.
I could have just waited. And how many times have I said, man, I can't wait to go there and buy something?
I mean, I'm sure you're still gonna go in there and buy something.
About to Klarna some shit. I promise you that. But I just want the bag. I just want to go in there and see how the shit look inside of there. I just want to say I've been to B&H one time.
You just want to be inside, huh?
That's
what she said.
Yeah, remix that one. Okay. But that's what I'm excited for. Then Vegas in a week after that. That's
yeah. You come back for a week, and then we go to Greece.
Yeah, right.
So
check this out. We got a TV appearance coming up, and I just thought about this in my chair, in the chair at my barbershop today. And so we got a TV appearance coming up on WGN Spotlight. Shout out to them. They always looking for us.
Yeah,
which is dope. And that is at, I believe, in like 12 or 1 o'clock, whatever. I think our call time is like 12. Mm-hmm. Guess what time I get back from Vegas?
What time?
5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yikes. Right.
Oh, that same morning. So your boy's going to sleep on the plane for sure. And I'm going to get off the plane. Probably, I was telling my barber that I might need you to hook me up real quick. You know what I mean? like,
what, are you not gonna sleep? Just go straight to the barbershop? Like, that's crazy.
I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
it's all right. It's gonna be fun times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
How about me? What?
I don't know.
Just in general.
yeah. I guess. I guess. Yeah. What about you?
Just vibing.
Yeah, just kicking it.
Just kicking it, chilling.
It's good.
Doing things. Here's the thing. As much as I love summer, I enjoy all seasons in Chicago. I'm really excited for fall because I love fall. Fall is, I love all seasons, really. There isn't a season that I'm like,
All right, kind of mid.
Yeah. No, there isn't.
No. Right. It's not mid.
I love fall. I love holiday season. I love spring. I love summer, all of it.
I feel like we don't get spring though.
What you mean?
Spring ain't really
spring. Is like May 1st to May 30th.
Right, that's
or
it.
31st?
I don't know, but the month of May. That's it. Like, and then
it's hot.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I guess I'm not mad at it.
That's good enough for me. But I'm really excited for fall because I love to bake, and we live in like an older building that doesn't have central air, so we obviously we have AC units, but for me to turn the oven on and bake during the summer is just like, I'm not doing it.
Let me tell you something, because it's hot as hell right now.
Yeah. Only because I made banana bread, and every room in the house has an AC unit in it, and they're all on.
No, not this one in here.
Okay.
I wonder if we turned it on, how it would be. Would you hear?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
You love doing that.
I was just thinking, I was like, what if we turn this on? Because it is kind of warm.
I'm fine.
Okay.
But I forgot what I was saying.
Just talking about how hot it was.
No, I was talking about how I like fall because I like to bake, and I just won't do it in the summer. Well, even though I just did it today, but
twice though. You made some cookies last week too.
I did, but those I made them special because one of the ladies from my crochet class is moving.
Oh.
And so I made them for the crochet day.
She listened to the podcast?
I don't know. She follows us on Instagram. But
well, if she listens to the podcast, this one for you.
Oh. I know I'm gonna miss her for sure.
Yeah.
But so I'm excited for fall. I'm excited to get back from Greece and kind of get into, because we get back, it's already this and the third week of October. So
we hit the ground running again.
Yeah.
Man.
So it'll be a fun time.
Yeah, buddy.
We
got a fun event coming up in October too when we get back. The closer we get, we'll tell you more details if you'd like to come. But going to be a fun taste of something.
But one other thing, one little piece of housekeeping is that I'm still doing the newsletter. We've been 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
So last week, obviously, I did it on Bloom's Vogue, and so if you want to check that out, it's linked here in the show notes. It's completely free. I'm not.
Yeah, right.
Nobody got.
You can donate now if you want to. I'm not afraid to say ask now. But it's free.
Yeah.
You snap with this.
And I did some research on Substack. There isn't a Chicago history Substack. So,
really?
Yeah. So
So what's up?
Support. You guys. We want to see Chicago go crazy. Mm-hmm. Support my Substack.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
And I try to make it very different than the podcast and the Instagram. I try to include information in there that's not going to feel too repetitive. Obviously, I'm talking about the same topic, but it's a different perspective. I
like it.
Last week felt a lot like an op-ed, but I'm
not mad at that feeling though. That felt good.
I'm into it. It's it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. Mm-hmm. I really want to get into writing anyway, and flex that muscle. So. I would love for you to subscribe.
Yeah, it's for you. We've been getting some subscribers.
It's the only email you're going to get from me once a week.
Right,
That's it.
right.
I'm not going to bamboozle you.
It's a good read too. It's a fun read, quick read.
I try to keep them under 3 minutes and under. You know what I mean? Because I don't want, and I put pictures in there for some of y'all that can't read. So if you can't read, there's pictures. You could look at them. I linked to
flip through it.
Yeah, I linked to some cool articles. There's like an what to do this like in the week because it comes out on Friday. So like I put some events that are happening around the city that I'm into or that I will be going to that you can also check out. I also include like where we ate the week before. I know if you listened to our last week's podcast, I might have already said this, but
you said,
yeah,
but yeah,
I'm like I'm okay regardless of what happens with it. I'm just enjoying doing it. So you know,
perfect.
if you,
I think it's gonna take off. Honestly, I think it's gonna take. It's already moving well.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this episode. We're gonna talk about comic strips today and like cartoons, but I kind of wanted to take us a little bit further back in history to talk about before we get into buddy
ass.
What is his name? Wallace
Carlson. Wally Carlson.
Before we get into him specifically and like the stuff that he did, I did want to give some back history. I do feel like we need a transition jingle.
I'm telling you.
But I don't want to do the more you know jingle.
Why you don't want to do that one?
Find another cool one.
I mean, that's cool to me, but we can do something. We can figure it out.
I feel like we need more music in this podcast.
Yeah.
I keep listening to podcasts that use a ton of like transitional audio and music, and I'm into it. So let's find a transition jingle. Okay. But anyway, I did want to give some background on comics, on animation in general. Obviously, there's like very extensive history on animation, but just to give you a brief idea of where Wallace fits in this history, right? Mm-hmm. So the oldest kind of like film animation dates back to 1888, and they used something called celluloid film. It's the same material that they used to make table tennis balls. They make instruments out of it, hair combs, all that kind of stuff. They don't use it for film anymore, but that's what was used at the time. But the idea of like a cartoon or just animation in general is even older because it dates back to putting objects inside lanterns and like the shadows moving. So like that is still considered, it might not be like animation the way we envision it today, but that is still considered as part of the history of, it's basically like a movement of the shadows. And so,
to breathe.
I know I keep holding my breath while I'm talking, but things like shadow play and mechanical slides and objects inside of lanterns, those are all considered as part of animation. Obviously, each one of those has its own deep dive if you are into doing that. But in 1833, we also had strobe. What?
1833. Incorporation. Chicago's incorporated.
Yeah. Strobe. Like. What I can't pronounce the word, but it's basically like a strobe lighting of some sort, and it created like an illusion of motion with these discs that had images on them.
So like one of them little picture things that we used to put up to our head, little clicky things.
Literally.
Oh, okay.
And then you had and then Charles Emile his name is French. Renaud. He started at the theater Optique, and he developed this theater, and they used transparent, hand-painted, colorful pictures, and he made them into these strips that had perforations on them. So very much like film strip. Yeah. Right? Or like camera film strip.
Just like it, yeah.
Yeah. And he would hand paint these colorful pictures on them, and he would wrap them around spools.
And then that's how they played?
Right, just like how you would. And he patented that in 1888, right? So like no one, and he did that for between 1892 and 1900, he did 12,800 shows.
God, dog, what?
With 500,000 visitors.
And he painted them?
Patented.
He
had painted them, But he reused them, like he.
Right.
But yeah, he did 12,800 shows,
Wow, God.
Yeah. Then in 1908, Emile Cole, also French, he started to use traditional animation, which is it's a shot frame on negative film. So it gave that black background with white stick figures on it.
Oh, right? Wow.
So that was 1908. They started to develop that. So again, it's like this is, I mean, Yes.
That technology amazed the hell out of me.
Right.
How they was thinking like that back in. I feel like people just got smart like in 1999.
It was like 1889.
You know, I mean,
Right.
and obviously, y'all, I'm exaggerating. But you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
people was that smart. But like then when you think about like the Egyptians,
but,
they were super
right.
smart.
If you think about comics, and I'll get into it a little bit when I talk about comic strips, when people were think of like the ancient world. I mean, they were making comic strips, but it had to be
Right.
hand engraved
Right.
onto stone.
Yeah,
Nobody,
and they were telling stories.
right.
That's why did it just click to me that a comic strip is the strip of film that.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's anything that looks like a strip of film.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where comic strip came from.
Right.
Get the hell. Hold on. Why did I take so long? Why did it take me a minute to get that?
But the idea of a comic strip is as old as about the 18th century. It was, I think, England might be the oldest dated like comic strip in the format that we know it today.
Really?
And then in the 1800s, they became very popular in the U.S. Because of newspapers. So once we started having newspapers, the first newspaper to publish a comic strip in 1890 was the New York World, which was Joseph Pulitzer's newspaper. And he recruited this guy named Richard I can't pronounce all these last names.
Hey, you having a rough name day.
All of these names are weird. Outcalt.
Let me see.
It's
Show
like
me.
it's not AUTCAULT.
Yeah, I'll go. Cool.
He made this comic called Hogan's Alley, and he's from Ohio. And they kind of turned into this like comic strip war between the different New York newspapers because they each wanted him. It was very popular. The Sunday paper was super popular. People started really getting into it. They started collecting it, and then November 18th, 1894 was the first color comic strip that the New York World posted. And that just like blew people's minds. They'd never seen anything like it. People lost their shit. They started actually collecting the newspapers. They would keep them every Sunday. And then after a while, they started syndicating it, like into the 20th century. They started syndicating comics. So you had people all over the world, all over the country reading the same newspaper comic. There was newspapers in every small town. So like once you syndicate, you can be in any newspaper that could buy it.
Wow. So 1894.
Yeah, 1894 was the first color.
Yeah, a year after the World's Fair that year. They probably, I know they was probably like, hey, we ain't gonna debut this shit at the Chicago, because we had beat them.
Yeah.
We beat them for the World's Fair the year before.
Actually, the Tribune was one of the first to syndicate. They syndicated in 1917, their first daily strip. So up until about, the early 20th century, it was, or the first decade in the 20th century, it was every Sunday, but then people wanted more. So they started doing a daily strip. There was this one guy in New York that kind of told his boss, let's do it daily. And his boss was like, no. But eventually they did. And the Tribune had a daily comic called The Grumps. It was about a family.
Yeah.
And in 1917, they syndicated. And so that was like Chicago's first syndicated comic. And the one cool thing, as I was reading, almost entirely unrelated, but there was one comic strip artist who killed off a character in 1927, and it was like outrage throughout the entire country. Like the shit was on the news.
They killed off a character, and then
he got so much hate mail. It was insane.
Because the thing, people back in the day didn't have shit else to do, and when you take away their fun,
It was just the radio and the newspaper.
right? You take away their fun. How you gonna kill my man's off? Yeah,
Well,
I'd write it too.
They had movies in 1927.
Still,
but people became very tied to these characters that they would read about every single day. And obviously, with the beginning of the Great Migration and Black folks moving up north,
that's when
comics were almost exclusively white. There were no black characters in comics.
So they started being racist drawing.
Right, exactly. And anytime they were drawn in extremely in a very racist manner. Being depicted in like the most horrific
super black,
ways.
big lips and nose and shit like that, and watermelon and joking and bullshit. And I don't know.
But then you had black comic artists start publishing their own comic strips, and that's kind of and no one really was into it until the death of Martin Luther King, and after that, I think it got syndicated to over 100 newspapers around the
That's
country.
what we need to do next.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to do that.
But yeah, I just want to give a bit of background before we get into
Who
Wallace.
Wally Carlson. Speaking, that's pretty. So I saw the Grumps in my research. I saw the Grumps as a reference, and I had no clue what that was. It didn't tell me what it was, but now I know, and this makes sense now. So I'm gonna get to it. Wallace Carlson. Who was he? Wallace Carlson was born in 1894, the year that the comic thing started blowing up.
Yeah, the color,
in New York, the color one, which is going to be a fun little tie-in here. Now that I know, he's born in St. Louis, Missouri, and so his family moved him up here when he was 8, going on 9. So 1905, he would have been 9, but I think he was 8 at the time. But they moved him moved him to Chicago, and he really had an affinity for art and drawing and kind of like and that kind of craftsmanship. When he came here, he actually started working for the Chicago Inter-Ocean newspaper.
Okay.
Now, excuse me, damn, here I go. Now, fun fact about the Chicago Inter-Ocean newspaper: that paper started in 1865 as the Chicago Republican. So it's almost like we're picking up our story from the last time we were talking about Chicago's first newspaper. That newspaper ended in 1914. Okay, and they changed the name to the Chicago Inter-Ocean because I'm sure the Chicago Republican was a pretty bad name at the time to be. It was meant to support that party. So
right.
And we kind of hinted at what that came about too, right?
Yeah.
Eventually the person from the Tribune bought him and the Chicago Herald, all that stuff, right? Anyway, back to Wally. So he was doing so good at this artistry and like these comics and this cartoon animation style type of stuff that Asanye Studios looked to pick him up. His first comic, actually, I jumped ahead a little bit. His first comic thing that he started doing when he's working with Inter-Ocean was Joe Boko Breaking into the Big League. It was a paper, baseball. And this was basically, they started posting up these little animations inside of shops everywhere, right? And so that's how people would see these comic pieces at that time. It was just posted up. Not necessarily in the newspaper as well, but it would be in stores, and you would just go in and be like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." So when you just shop, and you be like, "Oh man, this is today's story," or whatever, how that went. So that was his first big thing that he ever did. That's when at 19, he like Asanye Studios picked him up, was like, "Hey, we kind of like what you're doing, right? We kind of like what you're doing. Come here." Now, if y'all don't know, go check back our Uptown episode. Asanye Studios was a film studio.
Very, like the original, I mean, they named that entire street Broadway based off of the fact that they wanted this to feel like Hollywood.
Yeah, but, specifically Asanye was film, right? Asanye Film Corporation or something like that, right? Is what it was
Hollywood
called.
Like Broadway's not in New York.
Right. And his next main thing was Dream Dud. And Dream Dud was this regular dude with a dog. Yeah. And they just all kind of shenanigans, right? And then some of this other thing that he did was actually the Nebs, and the Nebs is very similar to the Grumps.
Oh, is it?
Yes. So that's why I was like, oh, wait a minute. That is what that means. Because I saw my research. It just said it never lived up to the hype of the Grumps. And I was like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? But the Nebs basically was Chicago's equivalent, right? At that time. Now, here's the really cool thing about when he was at Asanye Studios. When he was at Asanye Studios, he obviously got this craft even more. He was 19 at the time when he first started. So he has some, Charlie Chaplin was there and all these other film names. And he had a lot of inspiration to create. What he did when they talked to him and said how he came up with animation, right? Because this is what he was kind of known for, was like cartoon animation.
Right.
What he would do is he would write his or draw characters in a corner of his books.
Flip the paper.
And as he flipped the paper, it looked like they were moving.
Oh.
And so that's when he was like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. Now, nowhere can I prove that he was the kind of originator of this.
Right.
But I will say this with confidence, because he is in the he's like in the
Library of Congress, I saw.
Yes, yeah, he's in that Hall of Fame right there when it comes to animation,
Yeah.
cartoon animation specifically.
Right.
And I give you some numbers in a second, but they put him there because he did kind of create that style, and he's considered he kind of helped push it because he is considered one of the first generations of animators that when they lump all the new wave animators and things like that, who was kind of like pushing this new trend that was just really starting to take off. He's considered to be in that first generation of animators. That's why he's in the Library of Congress. And to that point, he worked over in 7 years. Now get this, y'all. He worked 30 years in the business. 30 years in the business. In 7 years, he had over 100 cartoons.
Oh my God.
Like, do you know how many? Like, and it's not just like how dude from New York had all them shows, but he was recycling.
Right.
No, Buddy had 100 different
Original.
cartoons.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, and so that's why he's in Hall. And obviously that number grew 30 years. You know what I mean? Like you gonna keep on going.
Yeah.
But he is legendary in that sense. And out of Chicago, y'all. Like, did you know? Like, and obviously he kept on doing work for newspapers and things like that. But he is one of Chicago's greatest animators that you probably didn't even hear about. Right. Also, there's documentaries on him, and we could keep on going on this, but we're not going to hold you too much longer. They really kind of saying this was Disney before Disney.
Right. Yeah, because Disney started
later. Right.
Just a few years later.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is one of those things where you got to do more research so we don't misspeak. But I mean, there's articles we can pull up and that says that, hey, this was Disney before Disney.
Yeah. And
there's documentary on it and everything. So, there you go. Chicago at it again.
being
Goaty. I
mean, we could also take credit for Walt Disney. So
I'm right. We're not even mad.
Not that we want all the credit.
Right. But his crib is over in Hermosa. You know what I mean? So we did that. Yeah, we did that. We put him on. Y'all wouldn't have
him
me
on. Dario and I personally.
We sure did.
In case you
time travelers, baby.
Curious who we are referring to.
But that's Wallace Carlson, Wally Carlson, as he's known later years.
I feel like this was a very interesting topic to do a little bit of research on because it's so vast. Like sometimes you think of so much falls under the terminology of animation. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. There's so much.
Yeah, it's very broad.
History is very very broad.
Yeah, it's a very broad history. Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, that's our job.
I love that Chicago also had a piece in it.
And we always have a piece. Yeah. Like when you think about
it's a major city, so it's hard to imagine that we played no part, But and
Chicago was the West. You know what I mean? Like, and so when you talk about expansion,
at this point, I mean, California was
right. I mean, with this, because Arizona started up in 1912. Yeah, so I guess we are in that range. Yeah. And that's crazy to think.
I mean, they had actors coming out of
that's true.
Hollywood.
That's true. Yeah.
Things moved quickly once they started moving.
It sure did.
You know, once we got the trains going, there was no stopping us.
Once the trains kicked off, when did California become a state?
When you should say when did Hollywood become Hollywood is the question. Because movies are old, but they're not that old.
1850. So California was there, but I guess the better question is Hollywood is what I'm thinking. When did
the first movie that was to be completed in Hollywood was The Count of Monte Cristo, and it was in 1908. But filming began in Chicago.
Oh, Hollywood was laid out as a subdivision in 1887.
Yeah. But did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, and it was
filming began in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know Chicago was them boys. We've been them.
First film to be made entirely in Hollywood was in 1910.
That's so crazy. The first movie made out of Hollywood was actually made out of Chicago. Boy, y'all better
if
put
y'all
some.
don't get the fuck out
You know
of
what I'm
here.
saying? Put some respect on that name.
You know?
Before we really start acting out. No, let me stop. No. No, man.
Anyway, I hope you loved this episode. If you did, please share it with someone you love. And do not forget to subscribe to the Substack. It's in the show notes. It's super easy. It takes 5 seconds. I just need your email. And if you did not love this episode, we'll see you next week with something new. Check out the rerun on Thursday. You should be getting those notifications because you're already you've hit download, you've hit turn on notifications.
Right.
So I know you're getting those. You don't need me to remind you, right?
No.
That's what I thought. All right. And we'll see you then. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we hope you loved it.
And if you could, please follow us on social media at 77 Flavors Shy on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter.
If you have any ideas or deep dives that you'd love us to do, please contact us at media@77flavorsshy. That's the number 77 flavors and shy for Chicago.com.
If you like visuals, please subscribe and follow and watch us on our YouTube channel at the same thing, 77 Flavors Shy, or search 77 Flavors of Chicago.
If you would like to support us monetarily, go ahead and click that Buzzsprout link in the description of this episode.
And as always, we gonna see you next week. Peace.